All right, all right, all right. How's it going, Coach? Can you hear me okay, sir?
Yes, Ken, how are you doing? Are you good?
Man, I'm great. It's beautiful in Dallas. No clouds. I feel like I'm gonna have to build an ark. It's been raining so much, but today definitely is a sunny day. I'm excited about this, man. We haven't got it together in a while. There's a lot of stuff that's
Yep,
happening in the market, and hopefully, we can go out there and drop some gems to help people fix the trading thing. So, Coach, tell them what this show is
absolutely.
about. What is fix the trading thing? Why do you think we created this?
Well, they say what's in the name, right? So, what's in the name? But there's a lot in this name. We created this to actually do exactly what we say, which is fixing the trading thing, right? Is to look at the trade as a holistic, from a holistic point of view, and making sure that we serve both the mindset aspect, both the technical aspect, and also quite important the financial aspect of it as well. So as people are joining, I know that we probably just got one or two people on at the moment, but the others are just being notified at the moment. I want to tell you, whether you're watching this via replay or you're watching it now for the first time, it's so important for you to join these streams, because this is where you get the knowledge that you didn't expect to get. We're providing free value here, things that it's taken us, coach, like what, years to get, and we just delivering it here, right?
Absolutely.
If we had what they are exposed to today, how different things would have been. So we're giving back to the community through this program, through fixing the trading thing, through Connect Trading Grow. We got some exciting things on the pipeline in the near future. And the key is, if they don't come to these streams, they won't know. So if you're catching this via replay, mark your calendar. We do this the same time every week. Please make sure you show up. We got some good things for you. But coach, take it away. I'm just going to make sure that everyone is notified that we are live and we are on. Just letting them know.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I'm actually looking at YouTube right now to see what comes up live for that. I'm glad that you said that. There's so many gems. So let's just go ahead and start off like we used to. We want to talk about the three M's: mindset, multiplication, and management. The M3 strategy, the Dominion strategy. I always like to remind people we do this for a specific reason. Here's the mandate that we feel that is on this company. We want to touch 100,000 lives, people, individuals, to learn the skills of day trading so they can live life on purpose and build God's kingdom. And with that focus, what we've understand when we look at fixing the trading thing, a lot of times money will prevent you from seeing impact. Am I speaking with somebody? A lot of times you might have a heart to do things, but then again, as human beings, as mothers, fathers, uncles, grandfathers, whatever your title might be, you're thinking about that future. And if you don't have the resources, I don't care how great your heart is, how Christian you might be, you will have a level of anxiety. And so fixing the trading thing is very important for that, because fixing the trading thing is going to allow us to make that impact and be purposeful in our pursuits. So quickly, here's what I want to do. I want to actually share my screen. What came out this morning, and hopefully you weren't under a rock, came out at 7:30. I think it's Central Standard Time. Was the CPI report, which stands for Consumer Price Index. This day to day is very huge because the Fed chair is going to be speaking. They're going to be releasing their minutes. They're going to talk about interest rates. So this was one of those days that you want to know exactly what's going on with the markets. Okay. So let me bring that back up. And I just kind of wanted to simplify this and just go over the CPI report and market update. Okay. So first things first, let's look at an overview. CPI for all urban consumers remained flat for May 2024. Here's what's pretty good about that. In this particular report, a lot of people were wondering, are interest rates getting crazy? Is inflation getting crazy? And there was a little bit of an easing because this report remained around the same. It wasn't what they expected. It wasn't great. It wasn't, totally different. It was just kind of even kill. Now, year over year, CPI rose 3.3%, and inflation shows signs of slowing down. Put a seven if you want inflation to slow down. Talk to me, please. Put a seven if you want it to slow down. Because here's the big reality, right? If you start to look over the cost of things, the cost of food, the cost of just living, if the inflation gets out of control, that affects everything. Now, let's keep it going. Food and energy prices. Food prices at home remain unchanged. Food away from home went up 0.4%. Energy prices, gasoline minus 3.6%. I know in the States, specifically Dallas, I've been seeing gas at one point $3.75 a gallon. I think the other day I saw it at $2.95 a gallon, so that was pretty good. Also, we are in an election season, so they like to play with the prices around that time. Overall energy index up 3.7% over the past year. Sidebar: this is exactly why you have to learn how to trade, because this skill set has to outpace inflation. Leaving your money in the bank is going to deteriorate because things will be expensive, and we have to find a way to grow with inflation. Let's keep it going. Federal Reserve policy implications. Fed aims to bring inflation down to 2%. So I'm sure Fed Chairman Powell will be speaking on that. Also, we want to be aware of when the Fed is speaking, and also big red folder days like today. It's funny, I had a talk with my son the other day, and I said, listen, a lot of new traders and even seasoned traders, if they're not careful, they'll be gambling. And they'll get in days like today. And I don't know if you guys saw that candle that came from the SP 500 and even the NASDAQ. It was uber high, like it was extraordinary, went through the screen. Just imagine if you were wrong. Potentially, that could have been a $40,000, $50,000 move on 10 contracts. But then likewise, a person could have blown or breached their account. And later in this broadcast, we're going to be talking about how to fix the prop firm thing, because there's a lot of people that want to get the funding, but do you necessarily understand how to go about getting the funding, how to approach this, how to have those strict rules and guidelines so that you can get it? Let's keep it going. Also, the market's reaction. The market response generally positive, but data aligns with expectations of gradual decrease in inflation pressure. So I think a lot of people are looking forward to inflation coming down, and even perhaps the Fed chair taking it off a couple of basis points. Would be nice. We don't know. What I would say is stay away from the markets. If you know that the chairman's going to be speaking, stay out of the markets, and maybe don't return to maybe an hour to 2 hours after. That's what I'm going to be doing. And crucial signals for future Fed policy decisions and economic conditions. One thing I want to reiterate, and I spoke about this on Monday. When you trade, it's not just the technicals. Institutions are looking at the fundamentals. The fundamentals are a driver to where the technicals may be going. So you cannot just be obliterated and say, hey, I don't care about that. I just have a rally-based rally, drop-based drop. It's in a FVG. That's nice and all, but you have to be around of the surrounding things and how the market's appreciating as well. Okay? So let me just go ahead and take this off. Coach, I'll pass it to you. Let's just drop some more gems, man. And hopefully people are getting a value. Put a 10 in the chat if you're getting some value today. But we wanted to speak specifically about what was going in the markets. Thanks, Coach.
No, absolutely, Coach. I think we need to understand, again, to that point that I made earlier on, which is looking at the holistic trader. We understand the market is not just a bunch of technicals, it's fundamentals as well. We have to understand that geopolitical things that are going on are affecting the entire market. One of those things, if you're writing or taking notes, is something called interest rate differentials. If you plot the interest rate of a country such as the US against other countries, you have an overview of where the year is going to go. So there is ways that you can actually take something from the year and bring it down to the day. And that's what we're kind of trying to do. So as Coach said, as you said, Coach, one of the things we have to be aware of is preserving that capital and protecting that capital. We had CPI out earlier today. If anybody was trading that and if you got it wrong, that's one of the things that will just take your entire account. Now, if you get it right, you're happy, you're smiling. But statistically speaking, 36,000 traders were surveyed. And out of 36,000 traders, upwards of 90% get it wrong at least every second time, which means that you're looking at blowing your account completely if you even made money the first time around, right? Because you often lose way more than you were willing to actually lose in the first place. Then later we have FOMC, which is happening in about just under 2 hours. And those two don't usually happen on the same day. So what we are looking at today is a day where there's probably likely going to be a whiplash on the charts. In other words, it's going to go one direction and pull back another direction, hardly going to continue in the same direction over the whole entire period. So be careful and watch out for that as well as we're looking at that. Okay. So something else I want to cover today as we're talking about fixing the trading thing, we want to bring some continuity in these programs, right? So you can see from last week to this week. And so sometimes when we come on here, we also want to talk about what has happened on the actual charts. You've got that happening. Students have that happening on a Sunday evening. We got Coach Clayton putting out some weekly outlooks. Then we've got a technical Tuesday where you guys get to see that again. And now on Wednesday again, I'm going to show you how I gave you at least 3 weeks worth of price action across the last 3 trading weeks in fixing the trading thing. Which means if you came on the stream and you said, Coach, I want you to look at this, you literally got a prediction for the entire week. Now, last week I got one thing wrong, right? One thing wrong. So I'm going to show you the one thing that I got wrong, and then I'll show you the others that I got right. And so we'll look at a little bit of a clip through that. I'm going to just fast forward to different points. And the reason I'm showing you this is I want you to see what's possible when you get the proper skill, right? Now, Charger, if you're on here with me, I want you to stick connected as well, because I'm going to look at your one at the end. Whoever's on here today, please let us know in the chat if you're live with us. And if you're watching this via replay, please also let us know that you caught it via replay. So let me quickly jump to last week's stream, right? And I'm going to make myself a little smaller here. There we go. So this was last week's stream. And what you're currently seeing on your screen at the moment is the gold chart. As you can see, the little person in the corner there is me. It actually looks like I'm wearing the same thing, but I'm not. As you can see, I'm wearing a different t-shirt here. This was gold. And this was live. And I'll play it just so that you can see it was live and so that you guys can go back and see what was done. So have a look at this, right? This is where we were last week. And my prediction is that we'll go up. We'll break up again, drop down, and then hit these 2 TPs across the next week, likely. The first one, if you go and watch the entire stream last week, was the initial target that I wanted to see hit. That's the one that I was confident in. The further one is a stretch target. I think we might still get it, though. But I'm going to show you, and then I'll show you the comparison as well, what we are teaching. Yeah. One of the NAS or gold is likely going to be wrong because there's a cracking correlation going on. I'm going to say that this is what I think. I'm still going to stick with my guns. I'm sticking with structure. I don't change things because it's convenient. I keep it to what I think is going to happen. And I've been able to be safe with that so many times. So what I'm doing right now is I'm typing on the TP, and you'll see me give that actual TP, right? The main thing I wanted you to see is the actual drawing. So let me just forward it a little further again. There we go. Both TPs on and the actual drawing as well. And as you can see, those are the 2 TPs. So 2315 and the second one 2277 at that point. So now let's see where it actually went when we look at gold, the live price at the moment, right? And I'm going to show you, share this tab. And there you go. First one, we literally got that move up, breakdown. And how awesome is that? So if you're watching this live and you're in the chat, please let me know as well if you're seeing some value in this. We literally got that break up, exactly like the drawing was drawn. We tapped our first TP. That was an entire week's worth of price action. If you traded one way, that was a free signal. Even though we don't give signals, that was a free signal. We hit TP over there, okay? And I still think maybe after FOMC, we might still get another push to try and attempt to go for the second TP I got on there, but we'll see how that goes. Now, the one that I got wrong was this one, and I'll show you this, but you can watch it in the stream again. Bitcoin, someone asked for Bitcoin, and I saw a shallow retrace, and then eventually over the next couple of weeks, I did say over the next couple of weeks, we'll see a move towards the 81,000. Okay. Now, if you're trading on a prop firm account, let me tell you this, you can make massive amounts of money in this direction on the way there. And we'll talk a little bit more about that towards the end of the stream. But at the moment, I'm going to stick to my guns, still think that that's in play. Now, remember, this is blue sky territory. And what happens in such situations is that you have to do projections. So that's going to take some time to get there, but we'll come back to that next week and see where we are at. Then let me take you to NAS. Now, this one I'm really proud of because look at this, right? Last week and Wednesday, we were here, right? I'll show you exactly where we were. Last week and Wednesday, we were here, sitting on this line. And I said we have two options. Either this was the exact spot we were where my mouse is now. We have two options: a dip down and up, or a dip down, another grab, and then up. But I said plus minus by this week, Friday, we will hit 19,472. And it is Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen, and we have hit it. So I gave you an entire week and some change worth of price action all the way up to that point, and we hit that as well, right? Then we had Mr. Coach, you up? Oh, just hear you jump in. You want to say something, Coach?
No, I just want to say this is awesome. So my apologies for throwing you off, but this is good.
No,
I don't think people understand the power of just having some free money when you know what you're doing. So please continue. My apologies, sir.
No, awesome, awesome, Coach. Yeah. So from here, literally, let me tell you how many days you got. From here till there, six days, 20 hours worth of one-sided price action. And I told you beforehand it's going there. Not only that, we looked at SPY, and I told you that I've got two TPs in play because we did this one the week before. So I have two TPs in play. That was TP2 and TP3, and we smashed both of them. That is 14 days worth of price action. And I gave you a TP at a point where there was absolutely nothing to the left of the chart, and I told you it's going to get there, right? So that's important. One of the things that we teach our students is how to do projections, long-term projections, especially in blue sky territory. Then lastly, we looked at Euro NZD because there was a request for that one, and we were over here. These are my drawings still. You can go and watch the stream. We were over here, and I told everyone that we're going to get a dip down, pull back up into this daily, and if we close beyond this point, which we did, we'll be looking at these two TPs down to the bottom. And for that one as well, let me just share my screen. I realize I didn't share there. Forgive me. So Euro NZD, we looked for a move up. We got it. We looked for a move down. We got it. And we were here last week when I gave it to you up till now, right? So once again, looking at about 6 days worth of price action. And I still believe we're going to go ahead and hit this target at the bottom. Maybe today still on that FOMC news, or perhaps later in the week. However, in terms of targets so far, we've got the SPY. We've hit our target, right? All three targets. So you guys made money on that. We lost one as well because I know quite a few of the students are trading the ES as well. And this was a week before, and we smashed that targets as well. So again, all three of that highs we ran through, and now we're sitting above there. So we are in blue sky territory. I'm going to hand over back to Coach for a bit. But what I'm telling everybody with this is whether you're watching this via replay, getting it in your email, because we might email this out to you again, or whether you're on with us now, to get the skill, you got to be prepared to put in the time, and you're going to be prepared to get it from people who know what they are doing. Coach, you back on, sir. You hear me, Coach? Good. Okay, so let me know if you guys.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, let's get started. So first of all, before we get, man, just congrats. A lot of times people jump on and we make this look like it's easy, but we've put thousands of hours in this. And so there's just something when it comes with coaching and accountability. And what I wanted to speak a little bit about now is there's so many people doing prop firms, but do you understand what's at stake and what it takes to be successful at this? So I just want to share my chart as well. Let me go ahead and go to present. See if I can share my screen. Coach, just give me thumbs up when you can see it.
It's coming up now, Coach. There we go.
Beautiful.
We got it.
Beautiful. What are we looking at? I kind of changed the candles a little bit. I always like to do stuff different. The red candles coming down are pretty much looking like they want to hit the VWAP area. What I always tell people is you have to be very intentional about understanding price action. Have to. And if you're trading the futures market, being able to read it from many different angles. As you guys see this right quick as well, we're coming right out of this particular area. Right out of this area. You guys see that? Also, as we zoom in, remember, we're doing new highs and stuff that we haven't seen in a while. But we want to zoom down just to see what is the price action saying, and is there a particular area that this candle might come fill in? And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We actually have one right here. And I want to try it out. You guys ready? Now, look at this preset right over here as well, right? Potential 450, lost 225. I want to see, can I catch some momentum? I do understand we have some walls that we're running into. Now, before we do that, let's look at this particular area, because right here could be an area of resistance. So if you're taking some notes, one thing that you want to learn is you don't want to trade in walls. And what I mean by walls are there's areas that you might have some obstruction that can, mess with what you're wanting to accomplish. So let's go ahead and see what this looks like. We're going to try it out. Okay, orders in place. I'm doing this on a 5-minute. I'm going to be zooming back and forth from the 1 minute and 5 minute as well. Does everybody see that? Now, one thing to understand is if you're going to be doing futures, it makes sense to understand what is it per tick. For the SP 500 is $12.50 per tick. So that means every time that it moves up a quarter, that's what it's doing. 4 points or 4 tickets equals 1 point. And we're going back and forth right quick as well. Now, another thing that I want to look at is if I'm deciding to do this type of scalping, I want to be very intentional about not putting too much risk out there. So look what I want to do. We see this was a rejection point where the sellers came in, buyers tried to push up, we had some rejection. But then also if I wanted to, I can kind of adjust that down a little bit and really just minimize what my potential loss can be. What I always like to tell people is anytime that you're trading, there's a chance that you can lose. Now think about this for a prop firm. Some prop firms have a daily limit that you can lose. Some of them have a max drawdown. So when you're trading prop firms' money or evaluations, you have to do it differently. And in truth be told, discipline is going to be so key in this because discipline will keep you in the game. What I've seen some people is they'll have their money in the account and they'll get reckless, man. They'll let drawdowns get to 10, 15%. But if you do that in a prop firm, you would just blow money. So instead, as I'm looking at this trade, and we're just kind of going back and forth right quick as well, right? What I'm wanting to find out is this making sense? And is there a particular place that this can go? So what's the best way to gauge it? I like to zoom out and I like to see where we're at. And right over here, we have the point of control, which is this red line here. We have some gapping in it. So it's really about me just being patient. One thing that I'll say for seasoned traders, new traders, a lot of times when you get anxious in a trade, sometimes you need to step away. I had a trade that happened yesterday, and I waited a while, and it was just kind of just stagnant like this. And then I was in drawdown, and then finally it got back to zero. And guess what? I closed the trade. And I clapped my hands like, praise God. Like I didn't lose any money, but I just realized I was waiting for it to move. It looked like it was taking forever. And it was just time for me just to get out of the trade. And I think that's very important that we have to recognize what's at hand. Now watch this. I'm going to put this in the middle right quick as well. And here's one thing I want to say if you're trading futures. Know what your game plan is for ticks. Maybe it might be, I want to grab 10 ticks and get in and get out. And grabbing 10 ticks could be a quick $100, a quick 200, could be a couple of thousand, depending on what you're trading with. But when it comes to prop firms, I think one of the big takeaways is you have to be willing to lock in the money. So let me just type this down, please. Lock in the money. Is this making sense, everybody? Because if you're not locking in the money and you're just waiting for these home runs, and again, this is a different strategy for when you have drawdown. Because as you can start to lock in your equity, it changes. But initially, Prop firms want to see, can you manage risk? Can you manage reward? Can you get in and get out? Can you have a plan? And so some of them even frown on you trading the news. And there's nothing wrong with trading the news, but there's so many people that are reckless when they're trading. And when they get reckless, they lose a lot of money. And so I just wanted to mentally just kind of talk about what's going to be your game plan and how are you going to be passing these prop firms. And so I think one thing that you need to understand is, let's just type some of this stuff down, is what's my daily goal? Yep. And if I have a daily goal, can I walk away? Can I walk away from it? Now look at this, ladies and gentlemen. We got 50 or almost. It's going back and forth. Look at this. I'm going to keep this box. I'm not closing it yet. But if I need to pull the trigger, I want to be able to do it quickly. But I want you to start thinking about this. And I was speaking to a good buddy the other day. You know how many people in the U.S. don't make $50 an hour? I'm talking about for a whole hour worth of work. So if you could make $100 in 30 minutes, if you could make $125 an hour, $150 an hour in a couple of seconds, what I've seen is sometimes we get so fixed on, I've got to make this money, but we start to forget the power of the money that we're making. Does that make sense? So as I'm teaching right now, you guys are seeing this real number right in front of you. This is just $25, but 25 isn't pocket change, man. That can buy you some lunch right quick as well, right? There's some people that are thinking about, hey, man, I might need to get a part-time job. Maybe finances are a little bit tight. And I just want to challenge you to say, hey, I get that. But what if you took time to develop your skill, and your skill allowed you the freedom where you didn't have to leave the house? You could work remotely somewhere, and you can start to lock in some of those funds that you want. Now, look at this, ladies and gentlemen. It went back and forth between 50, 62.50, 37.50. And again, I'm just doing one contract, and I'm doing this stuff live. And I'm doing this live because I want to show you that once you understand the skill, you got it. Now, in this, there's still a possibility that it can pop up. So I'm always thinking in my mind, I'm not saying it's a guarantee, it's going to hit it. You know, if it does, praise God. But there's so many different things that I have no control over. So what I can control over is I can have control over my environment. And in this environment right now as well, is I don't want to be too risky. I'm looking at what's going back and forth. I'm okay with what's going on. My heart's not beating all fast. I'm just down $12.50. If I lose in this one, I'll just lose maybe just $100, $175. Not a big deal, you know, compared with the size of my account. But more so, I think that the biggest battle is the battle of your mind. Because let me just ask you, how many times have you been up and you've thrown money away, but you've been up? Raise your hands. Come on. I know I'm not the only person. Come on, coach. How many times have you been in the green and you leave in the red? And at the core, if you look at it, what you're really fighting against is FOMO. You're fighting against greed and really deeper mental issues that are holding you hostage. I know so many good traders, but the challenge that they have to fight with is themselves. So in part of fixing the trading thing, we have to be aware of some of our issues that hold us back. And those issues that hold us back, we have to say enough is enough. Now look at this right now, right? We were up 50, high of 62, and now we're down 62.50. So guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I have a decision to make. Should I walk away from the trade, or should I just let it play out? Now notice, I have it where it's just a couple of ticks. But again, if we're taking a prop firm challenge, do we keep on moving to stop, or do we tell ourselves, I'm just going to allow the game to play? That's one thing I want to say. So, Coach, man, if you want to add something to this, please let me know as we're sharing this, because, you know, we've all been in this, man. We're all traders. We know what it is to be in the red, be in the blue, the green. What would you say is a key strategy or a key skill that traders need as they're going through these challenges and evaluation accounts?
Yeah, I think there's two schools of thought. I thought about this a lot recently in terms of how you restrict yourself or how you kind of give yourself some freedom. Some people respond to punishment. So when you think about a kid, a small kid, when you correct them and you try and get them to follow the rules and stuff, for some of them it's punishment. In fact, for most kids it's probably a punishment, because you're under rules. What does the Bible say? You're under tutors and governors until the appointed time. But a lot of us also think that that's the way to go when we are older, and maybe that's not the way to go. I think one of the things that might be a better way for us is to set ourselves a reward. So in other words, you say, man, if I'm going to follow the rules all week this week, then at the end of the week, perhaps I'm going to take myself and my wife out for a good supper, right? And you can make it a little harder, and you can actually go and tell the wife as well. You can say, listen, or whoever your accountability partner is, and of course, I'll make an example, but one of the skills that one of the things that you can have to fix your skill and make your skill better is actually by setting yourself reward goals and not just punishment goals. I looked at one of the futures, not futures, one of the prop firms today, and they have this thing in place that is called a tilt, a tilt blocker. So you can beforehand set what you are not willing to lose that day. And if it hits that particular point, coach, it locks you out of your own count for the whole day, right? It blocks you from going on tilt. So it forces
Wow.
you to come back the next day. So once you've hit that, you can't change it in the same day and try and get back in, right? And so I thought about that, and I thought, what can we do in our trading, day-to-day trading, that can stop us from going on tilt? I think the first thing to recognize about tilt is what got us into tilt in the first place. Did we take maybe too many losses? This is mindset skills that every trader needs. Did we take too many losses? We noticed that in previous occasions, after 3 losses, we go on tilt. In other words, after 3 losses, all of a sudden we're up our contract size. We start going, or our lot size, we start going in more and more and more, trying to make the money back. Then we need to note, just as much as we focus on our technical skill, we need to note what are these things that keep us back from being successful, and then train in that area as well. It doesn't make sense if you're trying to win a marathon that you go and lift weights. There might be some value there, but it makes sense that you keep running, right? That's what you do. You stay in the lane of what will bring you to success. And some of us focus so much on the next thing, on the next strategy, on the next way of doing things, that we don't actually focus on the trader as a whole. That's why in fixing the trading thing and in our company as a whole, we focus on making sure that you understand you. I cannot tell you how many people I've trained that I have seen, coach, that are phenomenal traders, but they just don't have this side on lock. And part and parcel is, you said something really important earlier on that's so overlooked. You have to trade a contract size that suits your psychology. You can't go 10 contracts in if you're going to have your heart stop while you're in the trade, right? Nobody can make clear decisions when they are panicking about the trade they're in. I mean, we've all been there. We believe it. So I'm going to say we've all been there, where we've rebuked the devil for the trade. We've
Yes.
also prayed to God for the trade, but we don't have to get there if the contract size is correct. So I think, as I hand it back to you, I think one of the things that you said early on is knowing your position, both as a trader but also psychologically, so that you understand whether you're trading your own personal funds or whether you're trading prop firm funds. And by the way, I encourage everybody to trade prop firm funds. It makes a lot more sense to preserve your capital. Whether you're trading personal funds or prop firm funds, you understand what fits your psychology, so that you're not having heart palpitations and kicking your dog, shouting at your wife, and breaking the windows in each and every trade, right? It's going to make sense to you at the time of trading it, and it's going to make sense to your psychology as well. But thank you, Coach.
Coach, that's good. That's real good. It's funny. I'm watching this as we speak. I think we went to a high of 75. It went back and forth. But I think you're so right, man. A lot of times people trade contracts, or you're trading a PIP number that's outside of your scope where you're at right now. And just notice what I said, which was right now. As you do this more, you will be able to go higher, your tolerance will be better. I never forget years ago, man, we had a good friend of ours in South Africa, and she came and, we were trading on MetaTrader 4, and she was panicking. She was like, oh my God, my account's in the red. And we looked at the phone, and she was only down 50 cents. 50 cents.
My word.
50 cents. And she was like, I can't handle it, man. And we were laughing because, just truth be told, where she was, she just couldn't handle losing money. And I don't know if she's trading today, but I think you got to be very realistic with yourself. Also, I think so many people skip over the power of just being consistent. Let me blow your mind with this one, right? How many times have you made $500 in a market? Just raise your hand or put a 10 in the chat. Shout out to Jill. Jill's name just popped up. Hope you're doing well, Jill. And so that doesn't sound like that's significant. I mean, it's only $500. Some people have made 1,000, 1,500, 25. I think my best day ever was close to 20-some thousand. But how many days consistently can you do that? And so
that's the key.
If that's the key, because if we skip over the consistent part, do you know $500 a day, 20 trading days is $10,000? Come on, folks. 1,000 a day times 20 is $20,000. Do you know how many people on this call right now are praying to make 25 or 20, 10, or even half of that? And the crazy thing is they have the ability to do so if they're willing to be disciplined and walk away from the computer. Let me just type that down. Walk away. Yeah, Coach, we're talking today.
I think
Walk
Craig David
away.
is. I don't know if you are too old for Craig David, Coach, but he had a song called "I'm Walking Away from the Troubles in My Life." Right?
Come on, man.
One of those can be on trading. Walk away.
And you've made your day. And here's why I say this. I think psychology-wise, walk away when you have made your day. Psychology-wise, it feels good to leave on a win. You know what I do when I play basketball, man? And it's funny, man. I just shoot around at best. I wish I was running up and down the court. But I don't like to leave the court unless I make a shot. Yeah, I got to make a shot, man. Preferably a three-pointer, man. So I'll keep on shooting. And then when I make that three, I walk away. And the reason that I do that is I need personally to feel like I've won. I got to feel like I've won something. I got to feel like I'm accomplishing something. I think one of the worst feelings in the world is to do this and to feel defeated, and for that to happen time and time again. I think that in itself really affects your personal psychology, because now you're starting to doubt yourself. You're starting to ask yourself, like, listen, man, is this working for me? Is something wrong with me? And I'm sure we've all had these personal talks, man. We get mad at the creator. Come on, anybody else been like that? You've been praying and, Lord, if you just come through on this, I got you. And we say these different things because we really want to see ourselves win. It's just something in it. And I know we have a lot of believers that follow us. I mean, we're kingdom based. But one thing I want to challenge you on as well is work on your faith and putting things in place that you can be a good steward over this. Because some of the wisdom is being able to say no. So when we make bad decisions, we just can't expect that God is just going to swoop in and save us, because that's a double-edged sword right quick. So you mean every time you do something, you want me to save you? Every single time? Every single time. And I think we forget. And I'm just kind of speaking from my own personal aspect. I've been doing this a while. I've had a lot of ups, a lot of downs. And there's times I say, Lord, come on now. They got people that don't believe. They got people that just play sports and make hundreds of millions. Like, we want to make kingdom impact. And it's almost like I'm negotiating with the Lord because I'm wanting a breakthrough in this. But one thing that we cannot negotiate is the process. Joseph had a dream. The dream showed him that his brothers would go before him, but there was a process that it took him to get there. Does that make sense? This process was him being sold into slavery, working under Potiphar, being lied on, being able to detect and decipher dreams. He didn't just get there overnight. And if we had it our way, we just want to hurry up and get there. I know I'm not the only person. I know I'm not just preaching to myself again. But we want to get there faster because maybe we've came to our wits end. And so I remember Jim Rohn said a quote to me that was so powerful. He said, "Don't ask that things get easier, pray that you get stronger." So my prayer for everybody as we do this mindset section part is that I pray that trading doesn't get easier. I pray that you get stronger. I pray that you develop that grit. I pray that you start to realize those patterns that take place. I pray that you start to recognize your patterns. I pray that you start to understand there's only so much stuff that I can do. I pray that you learn how to walk away. I pray that you become a good steward over what's in your hand. So, Coach, I'll pass it back to you, man. I know we've been going about 43 minutes. I was hoping that we either got stopped out or we made a profit in this, but it's going back and forth. But as in trading, there's limit control that I have. But the good thing is that if I do lose, I've lost um, with me being in control. And I know nobody really wants to hear that. Nobody signs up to say, "Hey, can't wait to lose the way that I want to lose." But if I lose and I'm down $87 or $100 right now, and this $100 was something that I preset before I got started on a smaller amount, then you know what? It is what it is. That is a part of trading. We saw it go up, we saw it go down. I can't make money if I'm not willing to risk. So no risk, no reward. So with that being said, I'm just going to end on my side before I pass to the coach. Mindset, multiplication, and management. Most important to him, I'm going to say at this piece, is learning how to manage you. Because truth be told, learning how to manage yourself is a whole skill within itself. Am I speaking some truth on this one? There's a lot of people that need help managing themselves. And so the good thing about that is, as long as you got breath in your body, learn to make those necessary changes. But be open to get the coaching. Be open not to just go in a direction far from your training, but learn from your mistakes. Don't just fester over them. Learn. Say, how can I do better? What time should I be trading? How can I become a better version of myself? So a lot of times, instead of us pointing the finger, let's start to point the finger back at yourself. I know sometimes people are looking just to see huge testimonials and breakthroughs, but if you're not careful, you'll have that expectation, but you don't have the expectation of yourself. So when I talk to traders, I'm always wanting to find, are you willing to take responsibility for your actions? And it looks like we're about to get stopped out at a whopping $162.50. So, Coach, take it away, sir. Thank you.
Awesome, coach. I think we all received tremendous amount of value from that. I think I was kind of saying to myself as you were speaking, coach, we have to accept the risk for success. Like there's a risk to being successful, right? It means you got to put in some time, you got to put in hard work. It means that to a lot of people around there, you're going to look totally crazy. People are going to ask you questions like, are you still doing that trading thing? I watched someone today that I followed probably for the last 5 or so years. I watched that person become a trader and do all sorts of other things. And I looked at some of their withdrawals. They withdrew 60,000, 100,000, all of those things in 1 month, right? And that's one account. And I saw the actual post that they put under it said, it took me 8 years of failure to see 1 year of success. And yet, all of the 1 year payments, this is what the person wrote, it overshadows and far shoots beyond everything that they failed in those 8 years. Now, of course, a lot of us sitting here, and we don't want 8 years of failure. This was a person that was working full time and so on. We don't want 8 years of failure. But the crux of the matter is sometimes to get to the success, it requires a lot more failure to get there. That's what success is. Whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a trader, whatever you are doing, if you've achieved anything successful, you know that success is a bunch of stepping stones of failure before you get there. But can you accept that risk? Can you accept that being successful requires you to fall a couple of times? If that is you, then you are probably on the journey to success. If you cannot accept that you will make mistakes along the way, if you cannot accept that it will be hard sometimes, then you probably won't be successful. But if you're going through the hardest of the hard and you're putting in the work and you're putting in the time, then that's okay, because you have the necessary requirement to be successful. So it's been a blessing for us to be on with you guys today. We're going to go ahead and end the stream over here. Myself and Coach Brian has been blessed to hang out with you. Whether you guys are catching this via replay or even live, please hit us up. We'll put something in the chat and even in the description as well. Get in contact with us. We'll be talking more about prop firms in the near future and how you can leverage that even better. We'll be doing some trainings on that as well. I know you guys will enjoy that, so look out for that as well. But the crux of the matter today is focus on accepting that risk for success. It's just around the corner. It's closer than you think. Myself and Coach Brian will tell you, Coach Cindy as well will tell you that it often seems very far. It seems out of reach. But the longer you stay at it, the closer it becomes. So you're getting closer. Just keep on pushing forward, forward, forward. Just don't go back, right? And as always, mindset, multiplication, and management. You guys be blessed on purpose. The M3 strategy. See you guys soon. Goodbye.